Good morning. Let me ask you a simple question. When was the last time you woke up before the sun and felt like the world was yours? Too many people say they want success. Too many people say, I'm ready to work hard. But they wake up at 9, scroll through their phone for an hour, and wonder why the day slips away. Let me tell you something I learned the hard way. If you win the morning, you win the day. And if you repeat that long enough, you win your life. When you wake up early, the world is quiet. No emails, no distractions, just you and your dreams. That's when the best ideas come, not when you're busy, but when you're alone with your thoughts. I remember when I started out, no money, no background, no big support, just time. And I realized something powerful. Time is the only thing everyone gets equally. Rich or poor, old or young. You get 24 hours. The question is, how early do you start using it? Some people sleep through their opportunity. Others wake up and chase it before the world even knows it's there. You want to be ahead? Start early. You want to build discipline? Wake up early. You want to stop making excuses? Get out of bed and start your day with purpose. People say, I'm not a morning person. Fine, but are you a hungry person? Are you a driven person? Because success doesn't care what time you prefer to wake up. It cares what time you decide to start showing up. So here's the truth. Waking up early will not guarantee success, but it will make you sharper. It will make you more focused. And it will separate you from 90% of the world still sleeping when you're already working. Start your day right. Start it early. And most importantly, start it with intention. Because nobody remembers the person who always had a dream. They remember the one who woke up and made it real. There is something quietly powerful about the early hours of the morning. Before the world starts to rush, before the noise creeps in, before anyone demands anything from you, there is a moment of stillness, a moment of clarity, and inside that moment lives your greatest advantage time. The morning is not just a part of your day. It's the foundation of your day. And the way you use it determines whether you build something strong or something that falls apart by noon. Waking up early gives you the kind of head start that compounds over time. While others are still dreaming, you're already doing. While the world is quiet, you are moving. You see, in the early morning, there are no distractions, no emails buzzing, no meetings starting, no pressure yet. That's silence. It's your runway. It's your chance to think clearly, to focus, and to make decisions without the chaos of the outside world invading your mind. Some of the most successful people in the world guard their mornings like treasure, because that's exactly what they are. A treasure chest of time, energy, and potential that most people sleep through. Think about this: the world rewards speed, but only when it's backed by clarity. And clarity doesn't come from rushing. It comes from quiet. The kind of quiet you find at 5 or 6 a.m. when no one's calling your name and your brain is fresh from rest. That's when your ideas are born. That's when problems you couldn't solve yesterday suddenly look simple. That's when you can read, reflect, write, plan, or simply sit and breathe, all without interruption. The morning is also when your energy is most powerful. Science backs this up. Your willpower, your focus, your mental strength, they're all at their highest early in the day. That's not just theory. That's biology. So why would you waste that power on hitting the snooze button or scrolling through social media? That's like getting a full tank of gas and deciding to park your car in the driveway all day. Use it. That energy is meant to push you forward before the weight of the world tries to slow you down. But the power of the morning isn't just physical, it's psychological. Waking up early gives you control. Control over your schedule. Control over your mindset. Control over how you enter your day. Instead of reacting to everything around you, you begin with intention. And intention is what separates a day that happens to you from a day that happens for you. There's also something deeply personal about the morning. It's a space where you meet yourself without the masks. No deadlines, no expectations, just you. And in that space, you can ask the questions that matter. Where am I going? What do I want? What am I grateful for? What am I building? It's hard to reflect when the noise of the day is shouting over your thoughts. But in the morning, you don't have to shout to be heard. Even your quietest thoughts have room to breathe. You don't need to wake up at 4 a.m. like some guru on the internet. That's not the point. The point is, wake up before the world grabs you, before your attention is pulled, before your energy is drained, before you're forced to run a race you didn't choose. Wake up and own the first part of your day. Read the books others don't have time for. Exercise when others are still snoozing. Meditate, journal, write down goals. Build the version of yourself that the rest of the day will follow. Because the truth is, your morning sets the tone. Your morning writes the first chapter of your day. And like any story, if the first chapter is strong, the rest tends to follow its lead. Discipline is not about doing everything perfectly. It's not about waking up one day and suddenly transforming your entire life. It's about consistency. It's about showing up, especially on the days when motivation is nowhere to be found. Because discipline is stronger than motivation. Motivation is a spark, it burns hot and fades fast. But discipline is the engine. Once it starts running, it doesn't stop. It builds, it accelerates, and it carries you further than motivation ever could. Every time you make a disciplined choice, waking up early, choosing focus over distraction, putting in the work instead of finding an excuse, you're not just making progress on a task, you're reinforcing an identity. You're telling yourself, this is who I am, this is what I do. And each repetition makes that identity stronger. What was once difficult becomes normal. What once required effort becomes automatic. And that's how momentum is built, not in sudden leaps, but in steady steps. Think about the hardest part of any journey. It's the beginning, the first push. The first day waking up early when your bed feels too comfortable. The first workout after months of being inactive. The first attempt at building a new habit when everything inside you wants to quit. That beginning feels heavy, slow, uncertain. But if you keep going, if you stay disciplined, you start to notice something. It gets easier. Not because the challenge changed, but because you changed. You became stronger, more focused, more resilient. Momentum is not magic. It's the result of daily effort. And the most reliable way to create that momentum is discipline. Discipline turns actions into habits, and habits turn into results. The compound effect of small, consistent effort is one of the most underestimated forces in life. One day of discipline might not change anything, but 30 days of discipline, that builds rhythm. That creates flow. That puts you ahead of people who keep waiting for the perfect mood, the right timing, or a sign from the universe. People often underestimate how far they can go with just a little structure in their life. A set morning routine, a clear set of daily priorities, a commitment to stick to their schedule even when it's inconvenient. These things don't sound exciting, but they're the real difference makers. The truth is, winners don't always do more. They just do what matters more consistently. That consistency is born out of discipline. There will always be days when you don't feel like doing the work. Days when you're tired, stressed, distracted. But discipline doesn't care how you feel. It only asks you to follow through. Even if it's not your best day, even if your effort is only 60% of normal, it's still progress. Because showing up, even imperfectly, is still forward movement. And forward movement keeps the momentum alive. Another thing people get wrong is thinking discipline is about restriction, that it's cold, that it removes freedom. But real discipline is the path to freedom. When you have control over your time, your energy, your focus, you gain freedom in every area of your life. You stop being reactive. You stop being pulled in 10 directions by other people's agendas. You start to create, to lead, to drive your life with purpose. Discipline is not a prison. It's a path. Momentum also creates something else, confidence. When you've kept a promise to yourself for 10 days or 10 weeks, you begin to trust yourself in a way that no motivational speech can give you. That trust becomes fuel. You stop hesitating. You stop second guessing. You move with certainty because you've proven through action that you're reliable. That's how you start to separate yourself. Not through talent alone, not through luck, but through a reputation with yourself that says, when it's time to show up, I show up. When you open your eyes in the morning, you're not just waking up your body, you're awakening your potential. After a full night of rest, your mind is clearer, your decisions are sharper, and your energy is at its natural peak. That first window of time after you wake up isn't just another part of the day. It's prime time. It's your best shot at doing the things that matter most before the distractions of the world flood in and pull your attention in every direction. Physically, your body is recharged. Mentally, your brain has cleared away the clutter from the day before. Scientifically, cortisol, the hormone responsible for alertness, is highest in the morning. Your ability to focus, analyze, create, and take action is strongest in those first few hours. That's why the early morning isn't the time to waste on low-priority tasks. It's the time to tackle your most important goals. It's the time to make decisions that move your life forward. It's the time to think clearly, work deeply, and perform at your best. Too often, people burn their freshest energy on things that don't really matter. They wake up, grab their phone, and immediately enter the world of other people's opinions, problems, and agendas. Before their feet even touch the floor, they're already in reactive mode. By the time they sit down to do something meaningful, their best energy is gone. It's been scattered across a dozen distractions, drained by noise and notifications. But those who understand the power of the morning use it differently. They protect it, they direct it. They put their highest energy toward their highest purpose. Your brain, especially in the first few hours after waking, is wired for creative thinking. This is when problem solving becomes easier. New ideas surface. Complex thoughts feel manageable. That's why some of the greatest inventors, writers, and business leaders do their most important thinking early. It's not because they're born morning people. It's because they've learned to tap into the natural rhythm of their energy. They've learned that the best time to think big, plan clearly, and act boldly is not later in the day. It's right after they wake up. In the afternoon, energy drops. Your body gets sluggish. Your mind starts to wander. You begin to make slower decisions and second-guess yourself more often. By evening, you're often too tired to do anything that demands real effort or focus. So if you save your goals, your learning, your health, or your personal growth for the end of the day, you're operating on leftovers. You're trying to build a strong life with weak energy, and that's a battle you rarely win. That's why the most effective people load their day. They do their deep work when their energy is highest. They exercise in the morning because that's when the body responds best. They read, plan, or journal in the early hours when the mind is fresh and uncluttered. They make progress before the rest of the world starts moving. That early momentum sets the tone, and once you feel that progress, your energy tends to last longer. It feeds on itself. It creates a sense of control, of clarity, of progress, and those feelings generate even more energy. The morning also has fewer interruptions, fewer messages, fewer calls, fewer meetings. It's a quiet time, and in that quiet, your energy can be directed with laser focus. No one's asking anything from you yet. You have space to build, space to think, space to execute without interference. When you use that time to pursue your goals, the quality of your work is higher, and you often achieve in 1 hour what might take 3 later in the day. Success isn't built in a single day. It's built day after day through what you choose to do over and over again. The difference between people who achieve extraordinary results and those who keep starting over isn't luck, talent, or even timing, it's routine. Your routine is your personal system, and systems beat willpower every single time. Because willpower fades, but routines endure. Most people spend their lives chasing moments, waiting for the perfect time, the perfect idea, the perfect burst of motivation. But the people who consistently rise above average don't rely on moments. They rely on structure. They design their days with intention. Their success is not random. It's the natural outcome of a routine that supports their goals. That structure protects them from distraction, guides their focus, and keeps them on track when things get difficult. A strong routine turns chaos into clarity. When you know what your mornings look like, what your first actions will be, and how your day flows, you waste less time deciding and more time doing. You're not constantly resetting. You're building rhythm. That rhythm creates momentum, and that momentum creates results. The routine becomes a runway, every habit a step that leads you toward takeoff. Look closely at any high performer, an athlete, an entrepreneur, a writer, a student at the top of their class, and what you'll find behind the scenes is not a secret strategy, but a consistent process. The discipline to repeat the basics, the focus to follow a pattern, the commitment to do what needs to be done, whether it feels exciting or not. Because success doesn't require doing extraordinary things once. It requires doing ordinary things with extraordinary consistency. Routines also eliminate decision fatigue. Every day you make hundreds of small choices. What to wear, when to eat, what to work on, when to stop. Over time, these decisions drain your mental energy. But when you have a routine, you remove that clutter. You make those choices automatic. And that frees up your mind to focus on what really matters. Solving problems, being creative, making progress. There's also something deeply psychological about having a routine. It reinforces identity. It tells your brain, this is who I am. This is how I live. You don't just write once in a while. You write every morning. You don't just exercise when it's convenient. You train because it's part of who you are. That repetition strengthens belief. And belief is the foundation of action. When your actions are consistent, your identity becomes stable. And that stability gives you power. Routines give you a foundation to fall back on during hard times. When things get uncertain, when you're under pressure, when life throws chaos at you, your routine is your anchor. You don't need to think about what to do next. You already know. It's built into your day. That consistency becomes a kind of quiet confidence, a reminder that no matter what's happening around you, you're still showing up, still moving forward. Even simple routines make a difference. A consistent wake-up time, a 10-minute journal, a daily review of your goals, a habit of reading, learning, practicing your craft. These small actions, done consistently, add up faster than you think. They don't just move you forward. They multiply your results over time. The compounding effect of routine is invisible in the beginning, but unstoppable in the end. Routines also create boundaries. They help you define when you're on and when you're off, when to focus and when to rest. That separation keeps your mind sharp and your energy protected. You're no longer reacting to your day. You're designing it. And that design gives you leverage, because instead of asking, what should I do today? You already know. And that knowing turns effort into execution, potential into progress, goals into habits. There's a hidden advantage that few people talk about, but it separates the average from the exceptional. It's the decision to start early. Not just waking up early, but starting your preparation, your learning, your growth, your execution before the rest of the world catches on. Because the people who win consistently aren't necessarily smarter or more talented. They just began when others were still hesitating. They saw the opportunity, they acted, and they earned the edge that comes from momentum. In every field, business, sports, academics, art, timing matters. But the best timing is rarely about luck. It's about positioning. And the best way to position yourself is to start before the crowd arrives. When others are waiting for certainty, you move with intent. When others are still gathering courage, you've already taken the first step. That head start doesn't just buy you time, it builds confidence, skill, and leverage. You're already moving while others are still stuck in the thinking phase. Think about the compound effect of a head start. If you start practicing your skills 1 month before your peers and you commit to steady improvement, that gap grows. What was once a small lead becomes a performance advantage. While others are trying to catch up, you're refining. While others are starting their day, you've already earned results. That early work, done consistently, creates a buffer between you and your competition. Not because you work harder once, but because you started working earlier and never stopped. Starting before others also means starting before conditions are perfect. It means moving while the plan is still messy, while the vision isn't fully clear, while the fear is still whispering. The truth is, the perfect moment rarely arrives. If you wait for it, you wait forever. The people who succeed don't wait for permission. They build while others are still talking. They learn by doing. They grow by moving. And because of that, they reach places that others never do. Not because they had better luck, but because they had more urgency. Urgency is underrated. It doesn't mean panic. It means priority. When you start early, you send a signal to yourself and to the world this matters. You stop treating your dreams like something to fit in when there's time, and start treating them like the mission they are. That mindset shift changes everything. You plan differently. You show up differently. You take yourself and your work more seriously. Another advantage of starting before others is that you get to fail sooner. That might sound like a disadvantage, but it's the opposite. Every failure you experience early is a lesson you learn before the rest. While others are just beginning to face the obstacles you've already overcome, you're moving forward with more insight and more resilience. You've already adapted. You've already evolved. And evolution creates separation. In a competitive world, small edges matter. A few extra weeks of practice. A few extra mornings of focused effort. A few more reps, conversations, or ideas explored before everyone else. Those small edges accumulate. They tilt the odds. And in the long run, they decide who leads and who follows. The one who starts early gets to make mistakes privately, adjust quietly, and show up publicly with greater strength and clarity. This principle applies everywhere. The student who starts reviewing before exams are announced. The entrepreneur who builds before the market shifts. The athlete who trains off-season while others relax. The artist who creates without waiting for inspiration. All of them understand the same thing: timing favors the prepared. And preparation begins not when everyone else starts moving, but long before that moment arrives. In conclusion, the quiet of the early morning lies your greatest opportunity. Before the world stirs, before the distractions arrive, before your mind is pulled in every direction, there is a window where your energy is fresh, your focus is sharp, and your direction is clear. This is not just about waking up early. It's about taking control of your time, your mindset, and your future before the rest of the world catches up. Success doesn't come from chaos, it comes from rhythm. It comes from routines built on discipline. From using the morning to build momentum. From acting before others hesitate. Your morning choices shape your day, and your days, repeated with purpose, shape your life. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the right moment. Make this the moment. Design a routine that strengthens you. Train your discipline like a muscle. Use your highest energy to create your highest value. Because those who rise early rise ahead. They don't just start the day, they own it. And when you own your mornings, you don't just start right, you live right.